This is One-on-One. There he is, Chris Giamo, who is the regional president, Metro New York, TD Bank. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you, Steve.
For those who do not know, by the way, TD is my bank, and go to there all the time. Friendly faces, they're smiling, they're working hard. By the way, love all the banks out there, but what is the TD Bank brand? Describe it.
Well, you know, our brand here in the U.S. is America's most convenient bank, and I think it all starts with customer service. And, you know, we don't just want to serve our clients, we want to wow our customers, and that's been our moniker for years.
How'd you get into banking, you personally?
Out of college, there was a corporate credit training program in banking which took you right from the teller line all the way through every area of the bank. You learned a lot, and I ended up staying in the industry, and I've been in it for over 20 years now.
But banking has changed dramatically over the years. There are a lot of laws. I mean, our colleagues in PBS on the news side talk a lot about Dodd-Frank and analyze it all the time, and government regulation, intense, right? A lot of bad performers out there in the banking industry.
Yeah, I mean, the regulatory environment is at its all-time height. And I think regulation is okay, but it's also okay for banks to make money. And I think people need to remember, banking still is a noble profession. You know, we're an economic stimulus for the communities in which we work and live. We're the backbone for providing cheap capital for businesses to allow entrepreneurs to realize the American dream. So I think it's important that we support the banking industry, and it is a noble profession.
But what happens out there, though, Chris, seriously, when you got some performers out there, some banks who do some pretty sleazy things, and the public reacts and the government reacts? You're trying to do the right thing, but you're part of a larger industry and you're painted with a broad brush. How do you differentiate yourself?
Well, sometimes the pendulum does swing far one way or the other, but I think with any industry, regulation will weed those things out, and capitalism weeds that out.
What do you mean?
Because you need to be a strong performer, and if you're well capitalized and a strong performer, the consumer will make the choice. And then as you gain market share, the ones who perform, serve their clients in a good way, they'll be the winners, and the other ones will be either gobbled up or they'll go away.
Question about customers and what you think they're looking for. The whole wow experience wasn't something you just came up with now. I happen to know that is a theme, the wow experience, and what that means. Is why you guys open 7 days a week, right?
Yes.
What do you think, in an age where a lot of complaints about fees and situations that people believe are not as convenient as they'd like, what do you think most customers are looking for in their bank today?
You know, I think they want to know that they could talk to somebody. They want honesty. They want the ability to walk into a store, we call our branches stores, or call their banker on the phone and get the straight scoop on what the product is, what the cost for those products and services are, and they want convenience. They want a quick turnaround time. If they're applying for a consumer loan, they want a yes, and a no is okay too, so long as they get it in the right amount of time.
Talk about it's interesting, you talk about loans. I've often thought about the whole credit issue. We've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small business people. Chris will talk about the fact that it is so difficult to get access to capital. From your experience, and you've had different positions in the bank, this is a relatively new position you're in right now.
Relatively new, yes.
Talk about where money is today and how much tougher it is to make decisions about who you're going to loan money to, and how the bar has changed dramatically given the fact that so many bad loans were given out by so many financial institutions for so many years. I mean, it was bad for a long time. How has the bar changed?
Well, you know, from an industry perspective, you're correct. You know, I think there were people making bad loans, and they were loose with credit and structure, and people got away from their knitting. You know, from TD's perspective, we continued to lend to businesses and consumers right through the financial crisis and continued to gain market share. Our financial strength as one of the world's most financially secure institutions has allowed us to continue to do that. And I think it's consistency. We've never lent run hot and cold on any one industry. We've had a very pragmatic approach to businesses, to consumers, to our approach on credit. And I think, going back to your earlier point, that's what consumers are looking for. very consistent approach. We could be wow, but people know what to expect when they walk into a TD branch and talk to a TD lending officer.
You know, we've talked about leadership before, and the folks here on public television know that I've talked about this before. I'm a student of leadership. I've written several books on the subject.
I've read some of your books.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I also make mistakes as a manager and leader all the time, which is where a lot of those books come from my mistakes and the mistakes we all make. You're in a leadership position, you make mistakes. You have a span of control that I find fascinating. You have several thousand people, right?
Correct.
Now, they're all not reporting directly to you because you have people in between. Describe your overall philosophy of leadership.
Well, you know, it starts at the top, for one. And I think, one, you have to lead by example. But more importantly, don't ask anybody to do anything that you're not doing. How you behave and act every day is really how people are going to take note and how they will behave and act. And, you know, one, you have to have a passion for what you're doing, take pride in yourself and in your job. And more importantly, there's no substitute for a strong work ethic. And I think if you approach your job that way, you will get the best out of your people and allow them to have the individuality. But those core principles, I think, are a cornerstone in any great, successful company.
But I have to ask you this one, because it happens, we're in the TV business. We're shooting at the Tisch WNET studios here at Lincoln Center, and we have a great team. A lot of folks behind the scenes who do not get credit. So I'm a big fan of acknowledging people and trying to give them as much credit as possible. But things go wrong. I don't care whether you're in the banking industry or the media industry, things go wrong. I have to ask you this because I ask every manager and leader who's on this set this question. When things go wrong, describe your style.
You know, it's tough. It's a difficult balance, because when you stress as much as TD on customer service and getting things right, and we do implore reward and recognition.
Sure.
But you need
what about the other side?
You need to fix what's broken. And sometimes that's difficult to do that with a measured approach. I think, you know, good coaching on site, saying, hey, here's how we could have done this differently and had a different outcome. And it's a delicate balance of, you know, having a strong hand and also doing it in a way that people can recover and not feel bad about a mistake. Because it's okay to make mistakes.
You a tough? Well, it is okay to make mistakes?
As long as you recognize them and recover.
You a tough boss?
I think so. I am. I'm demanding, but again, I don't ask anybody to do anything that I don't do.
Chris Giamo is the regional president, Metro New York TD Bank. I want to thank you for joining us. It's a relatively new position, but I have a feeling you're going to grow from there. Thank you, Chris. We learned a lot about banking.
Thank you.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Barnabas Health, County College of Morris, connecting learning and life, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship, and by MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.